There was a strange commotion in New York City. In the subway station, people say, shadows move without a human being. Addy, a 17-year-old boy, was on a subway platform when he first felt a pulse, a slight pulse in the air. The train was a man in trouble, or a fraud. The train was not a best man, half something else. Addy was not the best man. The best man said to the serf, you see, it means you are something too. He took a warehouse where the walls were written in Puryani, a script like a book, but it seemed alive. Addy asked, what is all this? The best man, the shadow pulse, it's talking to you. There was a whole network under the city, full of shadows. Addy and best man reached an unknown lab where some ancient devices were. Vaughn found a note, Subject 7, inactive. Subject 8, escape. Best man said, I am Subject 8. Addy saw the book for the first time, which was being formed into slips as he kept his hands on us. A word came out of his hand. Alive. Bestman, the book is being written by you, for people like you. Addy panicked. What is happening to me? Their first encounter took place in an old subway tunnel with a shadow creature, one that had no form, a surf voice. You woke me up, Vaughn shouted. Addy pulled out a light from his hand. For the first time. Best man does not use guidance. Addy's mind begins to flash back to his childhood. A fire, a woman's cheeks, and a book that was burning. Bestman asks, where are your parents? Addy, I don't know. I've been alone for a long time. A hacker, Zaire, enters, Bestman's old ally. Zaire says, I detect shadows. He tells him that a major surge is coming to NYC and Addy is at the center of it. Addy, Bestman, and Zaire investigate an incident in Central Park where people have been lifted into the air. A portal opens and a shadowy figure emerges whose name is Nick. Nick says, I am your writing. The three have to run. There is no pulse everywhere. The book opens in Addy's hand. Bina can't touch it. He wrote, what has been written they cannot erase, but they can write new ones. The meeting was held in NYC. There was a strange energy. The phone, the light, everything was blinking. Addy thinks, am I part of the world, or is there another story going on? Best man, the story is going on with you, Addy, but in the end, you have to write it. Addy looked at Best man nervously. I don't remember anything. What do you mean? Best man looked Addy straight in the eye for the first time. Your name was written in books, the ones that wrote about monsters. At that moment, the tunnel wall cracked, and 3 new shadows entered the chamber, each one half human and half oblivious. They've found you, Addy. You won't have to hide, you'll have to run. Addy picked up a small pipe for the first time. Wu followed the trembling Beastman as he was being pampered by the shadows. From the shadows came a surf of voices, of abuse, of hatred, and of wounds. Every time Beastman struck him, Wu turned into smoke. But one shadow looking at Addy said something. You were ours too, and always will be. Next morning, Beastman and Addy went to an old public library, a hidden place in a corner of Manhattan. There's something you have to see, Beastman said. There was a steel locker on a secret floor. Inside were old case files, missing persons, underground rituals, and a book that read, Project Shadow Plus. Addy's name was also on our list. He too had disappeared once as a child. Addy asked Beastman, what are you? Beastman removed his mask. His face was half human, half burned. I was just like you, but I ran away. And I was turned into a monster. A flashback was seen. A small lab, an injection, and Beastman locked in a steel cage, pale and empty. Addy found the book in the library, an old open book with nothing written in it. Right. As soon as he touched it, the alphabet began to write itself. You have awakened. We have always been inside you. Addy shook his hand, but the book grabbed his hand. Beastman tightly closed the book. It's too late. Now something has awakened inside you too. A new creature ruled the Queen's Tunnel named I. Beastman and Addy made a plan. We had to read the text and we had to close the cell that Addy had opened. Zaire came with them, with drones, cameras, and EMF detectors. I don't want to know what all this is either. The new layer beneath the tunnel, a metal jungle, pipes, steam, and shadows everywhere. A shadowy creature tried to clear Zaire, but Addie shot a flash of light at us. Light, that's their weakness, Addie realized. Another gate inside the tunnel, one that required the blood of someone whose DNA was linked to the cell. I need your blood, Addie, said Beastman. Addie twisted his hand and the gate began to open, but he heard a small scream. No one else was following him. The stairs were going down. It seemed as if to the center of the earth. Addie was getting better with every step. I remember. I have been here before. The Beastman said, time is of the essence. When you were 6 years old, you were brought here. You will experience the laughter of the experiment. In the middle of the chamber, a giant was standing. The echo of his breath echoed throughout the chamber. His eyes opened, and it became dark and deep. The light within you is small, but it will become milk with my power. Addie closed his eyes, and the book within him opened, writing every word in the air with him. I am light, and I will become your aunt. The Beastman raised the blade. This girl is not for survival. This is for all of humanity. We have no voice in the darkness. Everything has stopped. In his eyes, as if there were no darkness, perhaps an old fire was burning. All the people like you locked me up, Neck roared. Now you will all be my enemies. The best man gave Adi a push. You run, I will try to stop him. But Adi himself was changing. Light shone in our hands, the light of the book that was now in his blood. Adi and the traveler entered another tunnel. Everyone under the city was alive now. Pulses, shadows, and a strange sound like a heartbeat. The traveler said that all this was happening because of you. Adi bowed his head. I don't know where this power came from in me, but I will stop it. An old map fell into his hand, which showed another secret lab, down in the Bronx, where Adi had been taken before. The lab was hard to get to. The shadows were as thick as a peacock. The light was weak. Eddie opened a page of the book. He said, next time, it takes the heart, not the brain, to open the door. He put his hand on the wall, and the lab door opened. Inside were old screens, the sound of a bell, and the sound of a tape. The lab was hard to get to. The shadows were as thick as a peacock. The light was weak. Eddie opened a page of the book. It said, next time, it takes the heart, not the brain, to open the door. He put his hand on the wall, and the lab door opened. Inside were old screens, the sound of a bell, and a tape. A scientist was speaking on the tape. Subject 12, codename Beastman. Unstable but can be controlled if we understand Shadow Plus better. Did Adi see Beastman, who was silent? You never told me. You were made here? Beastman said, I didn't know all this myself. That's why he took me back here. Inside the lab was another room where a ritual was incomplete, blood vessels and a book that read, The Triad of Light. We're the two of us, Adi said. Who's the third? He heard a girl's voice at that moment. Maine, a new character, Lena, who had come from somewhere. I was hidden too. I'm your sister, Adi. Lena knew everything, Shadow Plus, the book, and even Neck. Neck was my first teacher, he said, but now he's gone mad. He's got to be stopped. Beastman was suspicious. Did you work for him? Lena said with tears in her eyes, I was also an experiment in our lab, just like you two. Losses, our night in NYC was over. The light from Surf Plus was still on. Adi, Lena, Zaire, and Beastman began walking towards the city's central pulse tower. Shadows on every road, and between them Surf was a small line of light coming from Adi's hand. The central pulse tower, an ancient beacon, used by early humans to block out the darkness. This beacon, Surf, was activated once. When you were born, Adi, Lena said. Adi stepped inside the tower, and his face was on every screen. You are the masters, the robotic voice said. You have to decide, stop the pulse or stab the whole world. The shadows attacked the tower on both sides. Lena showed her powers. She rose into the air, and light was emanating from her hand. The Beastman and the pilgrims were caressing the shadows below. Adi picked up the book. Its cover was now filled with light. Every leaf came to life. I will not become an end. I am every beginning. The final showdown. Addie and Lena made a blast of milky light to stabilize the pulse. Nek chekta ra. I am the country of all of you. The Beastman threw a blade at him from behind. No! So the surf is a mixture. The light ate the shadow, and the city came to a standstill. Right, not a book, but a new page. The cycle is complete. The second phase begins. Everything was quiet in NYC, but Addie knew this was the silence before the surf storm. A new crack had formed under the pulse tower, and voices were coming from Osman. They meant, we are still alive. This is the next phase now, and everything is in your hands now, Addie. Addie stepped inside the crack. Below was another city, old, eroded, forgotten by the people. But that place was now awake. The wagon had written, under pulse. This is where the surf spirits speak, Bestie said softly. The book opened, and a page of it flew into the wind. On the page was written, whoever goes in will not come back the same, Addie said with determination in his eyes. So let's go. We all go together. The world below the city, the underworld, was alive. Something was speaking in every wall. The difference between night and day had disappeared. Addie, Lena, Beastman, and Zaire were walking inside. At one point, he met a living soul, an old watchman who had now become a shadow. We are all waiting for you, Addie, he said. There were bodies on every wall in the underworld, but all of them were open to the eyes, as if they were in a dream. He met a temple, the Temple of Shadows, where Addie saw that the second part of his book was hidden in a stone. A sacrifice is required in this place, Lena said. Beastman said, I am a plane. Stopping Beastman, Zaire stepped forward. He said, you all step forward. I have sacrificed myself. The pilgrim gave his soul to the temple, and the stone broke. The second half of the book fell into his hands. A new warning. The sacrifice is complete. The final battle begins. Another path opened from the underpass above the city, but darkness had spread everywhere. Shadows had now crept into the faces of the people. A new being had emerged in Pulse Tower, another version of Beastman who had turned into a shadow. I am what you would have become if you had not gone to Roshan, he said. Beastman's last fight with his fear. Lena had now become a full-fledged lightkeeper. Roshan's sword was in her hand. She said, Addie, you are not a surfer. You are a coincidence. A symbol burned in Addie's chest. The entire script dissolved into his body. Addie found two books, light and darkness mixed. Souls rose, shadows burned. The whole city was drowned in a white flash. Everything went silent. New light was born in NYC. The pulse stabilized. Lena becomes a new lightkeeper temple. Beastman becomes a protector. And Addie? Addie went somewhere, but left a book in the center of the city, which read, When time turns back, I will return.